Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. Let me put that just right. So I noticed yesterday the dogs were like barking like crazy, and I had my microphone right here, right next to and aimed right at my mouth, and I was yelling at the dogs, but you couldn't even hear them in the microphone. So I think I'm getting better and better at understanding this tool that I have. It's very different than the headphones I had before. I had like these really cool headphones that I kind of like. It was one of those like style over function sort of things, or um, because I liked how they had like lights that would change and stuff like that. But they eventually broke, and now I went back to these, which are some headphones that I'd gotten years ago. I don't even remember when I got them or how I got them or whatever. I mean, they're probably 20 years old, but they seem to be really good, and it seems like they're it like if you keep the microphone right here, but like if I pull the microphone over here, hello world, hello, you can't even hear me, but if I put the microphone there, you can hear me. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, I have an almond for Rhett, and it is already 8:40, so I only have 15 minutes. But all we're doing is commit, which is typically a very easy task, but unfortunately, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little 100 next to this thing. I have 100 files changed in this commit, which is a what I consider a complete disaster. Um, Definitely not something that I'm happy about. And I think it's a side effect of a new scheme that I wanted to try out. And the scheme was that I wanted to write code, get the unit test to 100%, and then get end-to-end testing where I wanted them. Right? I don't have like a thing. And basically, there's kind of two things that changed. One is I think that's a crazy idea because you end up like this. Because what happened was I kept discovering things that needed to be fixed, and then I kept circling back, and I didn't want to do unit tests because I knew, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. It went out of control. Definitely not the right approach. I think from here on out, I'm going to try something different, which I don't know if it's going to work or not. And that's weird. So according to my little thing here, that cough came in really loud. Um, so I don't know. Well, uh, I'm getting better at this. I don't really care that much about making good videos. I care more about becoming better at software development. But why make a bad video if you know how to? If you can do something and make it better, you might as well make it better. But I don't want to like sort of obsess about that. I want to obsess about coding. But anyways, so I think what I'm gonna try to do is write code, get it to where I think it's done, clean it up, commit it, write unit tests, clean it up, commit it. If something in the unit test exposes code that needs to be done, if depending on the size and the scope of what needs to be done, maybe go back to the code only, commit back to unit test, and cycle back and forth through that and then I will know that if I have a Cypress commit, that is a unit of code that is a commit stop place that is an appropriate place to go back to. So like one of the major benefits of doing things in Git is that you can say, oh, okay, I've really made a bad decision here, and all the code I have is not going to be is more trouble than it's worth. Let me just roll back, get rid of this code and roll back to a previous commit, or stash the code, or create a different branch and hold it. You have a lot of options to be able to go back to where you were before. Um, so that's one of the really big sort of changes. The other change that was pretty big is I have realized that I never like a lot of times when I write a new feature, I'm very careful. I make it nice and clean and it works really well. But then when I'm fixing bugs or there's like a emergency feature, like something is like a gap that needs to be fulfilled, then I tend to like get it working and not really figure out exactly. I not really fit it into the architecture. I just sort of make whatever changes wherever and get it working. And and that's always been good for me. But the problem is this application is just so big and has so many like things that it needs to do that that's not you like it's okay if you're right at the end of a project. Like I have a voice project that I'm right at the end of. So if I just toss some stuff together and get some stuff working, that's fine because it's done. But you can't build on that. You can't like then add more things on top and add more things on top because your architecture's like there's no good structure to the thing. Your application's becoming like like a jellyfish in the ocean just floats around, is my understanding. It just floats around the wherever the currents take it because it doesn't and even if it wanted to try to control where it goes, it doesn't have the musculature and the bones and all the things so that it can overcome wherever nature's pushing it. That's sort of your application. Like I won't be able to move forward. It'll just have to be what it is. It can't change. It's just gonna have to go with the flow wherever it takes it. Anyways, so that's that. But now we have a good working application. End-to-end tests are passing. I can't remember if we were able to resize in update mode. I had thought that we had that working, but that could easily be a fake memory. Um, Fake memories are not that uncommon, but now it's time to do a commit. So, and normally when I do a commit, I do like a very exhaustive examination. Oh, that was the thing. I've decided to set aside the time that I do unit testing as time that I'm absolutely committed to understanding every line of code, getting 100%, but also understanding every line of code. At least understand it, not necessarily like make it perfect, but and it's not about writing the unit tests so that the unit tests test everything. It's about understanding what every line of code does. Make sure that, and that is, as a side effect, is making every line of code understandable. Like that something just isn't just thrown in there and it's just now it's just like I wrote a lot of code. I kind of had like an instinct that this might work, hit refresh and it worked, move on with life. I can't do that anymore. I won't be able to expand if I do that. Anyways, it looks like we added one component called S component. It's services Angular Viz component. So, a service for the Viz component. Okay. It probably would have been better if it had been like S Viz component, but this is fine. Looks like we made one change to our Cypress tests, and that makes sense. Basically, we made it to where it doesn't care what the order of the the query is. Like the query makes an order and it brings it. I don't give a crap what the query's order is. I just want to make sure that I have one sitting at 0, one sitting at 400, and one sitting at 600, and the other is I want one sitting at 0, 200, and 400. And that was very clever. I wish I could take credit for it, but it was definitely um, ChatGPT was just like, hey, just map out everything, um, make a new array of the lefts, and then make sure that you have, and those could be sorted, and then just make sure you have that it matches 200. Too deep equal. The deep is pretty interesting. I don't know what that is. I don't really feel like digging into it, but it is interesting. So this is an image. So we do not need to commit this image. So this was an image that Cypress found when things were broken. It's like, hey, this is what it looked like when it came back as a fail. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. We're not checking that in. Um, so it looks like is it literally all we did was move the ST renderer service down here? I guess since we have a big ridiculous set of commits, we might as well throw that in there too. Normally, I probably wouldn't want that commit in there, but looks like okay, so it's red over here. Oh, okay, we just changed. So yeah, and that is like we have a ton of things. Okay, so we don't want this, I don't think. I think I could just, okay, so let me go ahead and once they're done, add them to the staged list. It's been years since I had a commit this big, so I don't necessarily remember exactly the best way to deal with them, but I know I don't want this. I think we want the note, but I don't think we want the. Okay, I don't understand what's going on here. So let's go over here. Okay, we want to get rid of this one, this this console log. I think we might end up needing it for our next task, but we'll just redo it. There's a lot that comes from doing that. But the next task is to handle resize in edit view. Um, so I think that looks good now. Let's go back and look. And we'll add that app custom. So this is just the moving of things, and then not sure exactly. Okay. Hmm. I guess we'll leave that little comment there. That one's 50-50. I could see getting rid of it. I could also see keeping it. Okay, so we added this, and all this is removing things. So that makes me happy. A lot of times you'll end up with a commit if you refactor and you just move something, like if it affects all kinds of things, then it makes sense. And it looks like this was probably what the whole point of this was. Initially, what got this rolling was these ThreeJS or this aspect ratio printed it to the screen. It was like, I don't have any, I remember this now. I think this was months ago. I don't have anything that's printed from ThreeJS specifically onto the screen. So we need to make sure that we can do that. And that led to this incredible set of freaking rabbit holes that we ended up going down. I can't believe we actually came out of it. Uh, there were a lot of times. So this is just a unit test. I don't get too worked up about unit tests. Um, but there were a lot of times during this where it was just like, "God, do I really want to keep working on this project, or do I want to kind of start from scratch?" I ended up just fighting through and keeping it going. Let's see, this is another unit test set. Okay, so this was just a result of a rename. I don't see anything that really stands out as bad. Typically on these, I just kind of am looking for like basically more of a smell test than anything else. So that just moved everything down. It probably also changed, yeah, it changed it to entities. So, just like I'm just looking for something that is just stands out as not to be. I'm assuming that since I've gone through the whole coding thing and I've gone through um, unit testing and Cypress testing that I've cleaned everything up. So basically, this is where we created our own dictionary. Does this comment even make sense anymore? This is one of the things you really want to watch out for. In the future, we can create an object-specific dictionary. I think it is. Yeah, so this comment is actually destructive. This is not a good comment. Um, it's kind of weird. Like comments kind of come in two flavors, either absolutely necessary or completely um, like worse than useless. And that was an example of a worse than useless comment. Um, okay, so this is where we changed it from a viz component to a viz component ID. I think that was the biggest, most impactful change that ended up making things really bad for us. Okay, it's unit tests. Everything seems fine. I think it's a new unit test. And this is a new file. This is our viz component service. And this is deleting a file. So I'm guessing it's because I moved it. This is deleting, so we don't even need to look at those. App model. This was just a rename. 79 to go. What do we? 8:54. So I'm not quite ready to do a commit. Something kind of looked off on that last one, but oh well. So this is our service and animations. That was a unit test. Animation service. This is a brand new file. Wow, that was a lot of code for a brand new file. I do not like these files getting more than 1,000 lines. It's just sort of a general smell test sort of thing. So I do kind of try to take a look at that. I probably wouldn't stop a process. Okay, so that looks good due to it, but all that. So anyways, we have 70. Well, I still have another minute. This is unit test, so we can get rid of that one. Geometry. This is a brand new file. It's only 55 lines. That's the way I like it. I like it like that. Okay, unit test. Okay, so that's brand new. I think everything looked good in there. Looks good in there. We have 70 files to go, and it is now 8:55. So this is probably a good time to call it quits. We'll kind of go over the next 75 files hopefully tomorrow, get that committed. Looks like almost everything, like everything from here to here is a delete. And maybe you know, it probably makes sense to be like, can I click on this? And then can I hold the shift button down? And then say like stage changes. All right, so that took care of a whole bunch at one time. Same here. Like I do not see any reason to review code that's being deleted. Right? Like that doesn't make any sense. All right, so we have 32 more files to go over tomorrow. We have 57 that are updated. We had reached 100, 3 digits, but one of them was just an image that Cypress had captured on a failed test. So we are down there. We of them, all of them, it looks like we have one M, which I don't know is modified, and then U, which is untracked. Okay, so these are all brand new files. The only change was this one. So we like literally added 31 new files. I've never even noticed this sort of thing before. And everything else was, I think, moved. The vast majority of files were moved with some slight updates due to just like positioning and all that. So it's not too bad. But anyways, we do need to kind of at least lay an eyeball on each one before we do before we commit it. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.